Now, live from the 13 Now Digital News Desk, this is the Friday Night Fever Afterburn, sponsored by Peden Heating and Air Conditioning.
Welcome to Friday Night Fever Afterburn Week 5 in the books. We are halfway through the high school football regular season. Kaylee, we had a lot of fun this week. Let's get right into those scores.
Yeah.
Start us off with the game you were up at tonight.
Well, it ended up being another blowout. We kind of talked about battle of the defenses. We thought that, Walton has had a good defense, but, they proved that, but 61-14. So Walton getting that revenge.
61-14. I know we expected, that was our game of the week. Walton, they look to be the real deal. We'll get into that in just a couple minutes. Bozeman, they went on the road and beat Wee Hitchcock 28-0. That is a SSAC North Florida League game. Chipley, they stay undefeated going into Freeport 27-6. Mosley and Wakulla, we'll talk about this one as well. Wakulla Eagles, they were undefeated into this game. Mosley came on the road, picked up a 10-point win, so a big win for the Mosley Dolphins. Rutherford and Port St. Joe. Tell us about our next scores, Kaylee.
Well, Rutherford went over to Port St. Joe hoping to get their first one of the season, but the Tiger Sharks had a shutout, winning that one 34-0. Cottondale over at North Bay Haven, well, actually over at Bozeman, but North Bay Haven, the home team. Cottondale's going to win this one 36-27. And then Arnold getting their first win of the season, winning at home 10-7 over Fort Walton Beach. And Blountstown hosting Taylor County. That was a close one. Blountstown's going to win, though, 22-18.
Then we're going to head on up to Graceville. They were taking on a team from over in Alabama, Cottonwood. They got a 50-point victory over those Tigers, 56-6, the final. Holmes County, saw a GATA down in the comments. That is, get after them aggressively. Big Blue Devils fan in there. Holmes County 42-23 win over Jay Sneeds. We got the Pirates and the Pirates. Pirates, the good guys, are Pirates. They got the win, 38-20. Sneeds staying perfect as well. Franklin County not so lucky. They fell to Rocky Bayou 41-7 over there in Okaloosa County. What else we got? That's what we got. That's our scores. A lot of scores going on. We had a few teams off tonight. Bay was still off. Liberty was off. Mariana was off. So
there's one more.
One more team. We'll come back to that in a minute. But anyway, let's talk about our game of the week. You were up there in Funiac Springs. I know those Walton Braves got to be hyped up after tonight. Last year, South Walton got the win on their home field. Tonight, Walton. That 61 points.
Yeah.
Talk to us about this.
Yeah, I mean, they were both undefeated. South Walton took this game last year, so of course Walton on their home field, undefeated on their home team, on their home field under Coach White. So I think they had that confidence going in there, and they just dominated. I mean, on the offense and the defense, they did not give South Walton much time in possession. And then, when there was great coaching, I would say, Walton would be down, just a couple yards short. They would get the offsides, giving them that first down. So, I mean, they just looked really well-rounded all around. They have multiple weapons, plenty of depth. So, and their celebrations, I mean, I love it. They did it multiple times with all different players. So, they just were aggressive, and you could tell they wanted to win. And, I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch.
And I know tonight we were kind of asking this week, was Pierce Sperling going to be playing? Was he not going to be playing? He did not suit up tonight, South Walton, so they did not have the Georgia commit Pierce Sperling out there as a receiving weapon. But, 14 points. For anybody who knows anything about South Walton football in the last couple of years, this is an offensive juggernaut, and their defense has been a lot better than, they have in recent years. But 61 points by those Braves, and their defense only allowing 2 scores on South Walton's end. That is an incredible performance by Walton on their home field. I'm sure.
Here's another one.
There we go. Oh, the celebration. I love it. I love it. What is the Dirty Dancing?
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
They got it on lockdown. Maybe that might not have been what they were going for, but Walton, they got the celebration.
They could probably do it if they wanted, though.
They could probably do it. I will say, are the Walton Braves, are they the team to beat here in the Panhandle?
They look like it. They look really good. So, I mean, I'm excited to kind of continue to see what they can do. You talked about them having a tough schedule ahead. So, I mean, that'll be interesting to see that play out. But I mean, they look really sharp right now.
We'll say 61 points. I keep saying it, 61. That I did not see that coming. I didn't. Walton, they have a fantastic team, 61 points on the board. Mosley, of course, is a larger school, so it's kind of hard to compare. And Bay beat Mosley, so it's kind of hard to compare. Which one of our teams is kind of the top squad. But right now, Walton, they're undefeated, and this was a statement victory. We'll have to see again, like you said, going to district play. But Walton, you guys earned yourself a big win.
Yeah.
We got some in the comments. We got Heather Sutton, go Braves. Yes, go Braves indeed. We're going to keep talking about them because this is just very impressive by those Braves. We got Tigers, Chipley Tigers 5-0. Yes, sir, Mr. Bracken, 5-0 Tigers. They go into Freeport. They get another win tonight. And another go Mosley. Michael Welch, go Mosley. Yes, we talked about them last week. We were like, all right, they got to win. They bounced back from the loss to Bay. They picked up 2 in a row. They got Arnold and Leon. This one was going to kind of be the test of like, all right, this is a real good ball club over in Crawfordville. They picked up a win. Let's check out that one a little bit. These are highlights, courtesy to our friends over in Tallahassee. When this always happens, same with us, when we send highlights to them, they're always going to be kind of in the favor of our team, and for them, their team. So there's a little more, we'll call highlights, even though Mosley got the win, but they look good. Sammy Freitas, Coach Whitten was talking this week about how the sophomore Sammy Freitas is really kind of taking over that offense. He's getting comfortable, in the pocket early on in the season. He was a scrambler. He would make plays happen on, with his feet, but now he's getting real comfortable in the pocket, and he has that, dual threat attack. I'm really impressed with what he's going on. He's got those weapons over the field. Whitten was saying, hey, you don't have to go out and be Superman. You just got to, you got the weapons, make the plays happen, and it seems like he's doing that tonight. 38 points over on the road. That's a hostile environment over there. Randy with the big play right there. But, Mosley, they're going to, bounce back. That's going to put them at 4-1 now. The one loss being to Bay. That was that one at the end of the year could really be one of their sole losses. They're going to get into the tough district schedule soon. But what do you think about Mosley going over and getting that win?
I mean, they looked really impressive. I know they were anticipating this one, like you said. Wacola's a really good football team. They were undefeated. Mosley on the road. That always can cause a little bit of added pressure. But I think they both looked like really clean teams. And I think Mosley definitely wanted to bounce back after that loss to Bay. And I think they looked good.
Well, we are going to talk a little bit about that Port St. Joe game because, again, we see that 34-0. Josh was over at that game, videoing. He said they scored on the first play of the game, the offensive play of the game.
17 seconds into the game.
17 seconds into the game. And he's like, yeah, he kind of let up at the end. He really could have scored probably within the first 15 seconds. Not that that makes not much of a difference. But, they came out firing 34-0. Rutherford, we talked about this. Rutherford might have one of the most difficult schedules in the entire panhandle, and that is tough, especially when you're in a district with a South Walton and a Bay, and that's real tough for them starting off, and their schedule's only going to continue to get harder. But Port St. Joe, that's 2 in a row for them. Picking up the win on their home field, 34-0 in the Sharks' favor. They are missing DJ Oliver, still out with injury, but they got weapons all over the place. Jabara, Pearson, they got Lawan Zaccaro. Those guys are everywhere.
And their quarterback, Devin Catino, looked really good tonight, too. I mean, that was something into this year he talked about, wanting to be able to use that arm, having that throwing capability. And, I mean, he's proved that. He looked really good tonight. It was exciting to see him with a couple long passes down the field.
I see some comments talking about Walton's schedule. We'll get to that in a little bit because I will say through the start of the season, those first 4 games, not necessarily, the strongest strength through the first 4 games. And then tonight, South Walton, they were undefeated. They really hadn't been tested. So we're yet to see where South Walton goes from here. But Walton's schedule from this point on is very difficult with those Pensacola teams and with Bluntstown. So if we're having this conversation in a couple weeks, you can say, hey, I told you so. But if Walton continues, to keep on winning with their upcoming schedule, I'm going to have to say that claim is invalidated. Sammy is looking good. That'll be Sammy Freitas, again, looking great. Just got back from the Mosley game. Great win. A nice little trek over to Crawfordville over in the Big Bend area. Mosley getting the win tonight. I know those fans are excited. Bozeman and Weewah Hitchcock. Let's talk about that one a little bit. What did you think of this game? Trey Luna, he was the man tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always difficult having a backup quarterback go in, but they looked really good. I mean, with Colton G, I think he is such a great player. I think he is just a weapon for any quarterback that could be in there, always just trying to find a way to get the ball. He's had, that game-winning touchdown a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So, I mean, he's always a great option. But, I think Bozeman looked good on the road. Weewah was just trying to get there, trying to fight for it, and just were unable to do it. And Bozeman was able to take advantage of that.
Right, and again, we mentioned that the starting quarterback, the junior Peyton Gay, one of the best, options, one of the strongest arms, most talented quarterbacks in the area. He's out right now, no time frame for sure on his return. He was sidelined tonight, but they were able to ground and pound with Trey Luna. That's exactly what you'd expect from a team that's missing their starting quarterback. And, Trey Luna, he did everything tonight. The coaches tell me 3 scores, and the totals weren't exactly all tallied up, but we know at least about 160 yards tonight. So quite a night for Trey Luna.
Yeah,
he had himself a ball game. This one's going to come into, I think come postseason play come time at the end of the year. This one could really come out to show in Bozeman's favor, especially, as they enter the SSAC North Florida League playoff right before the actual postseason. 28-0 is the final in Bozeman's favor. Let's check on the one that I was out at tonight. This one out actually at Bozeman's Fields. Bozeman was on the road at Weewah. This one being played at Dean Bozeman School, North Bay Haven and Cottondale. North Bay Haven falling to Cottondale. But let's talk about this one. They start off, Bucks, they score right off the bat. And I'm like, okay, Bozeman, not Bozeman, North Bay Haven looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Cottondale, we're going to see this on the next kickoff in just a second. This is the man, Jock. That guy, he, like you were mentioning, you're like, wow, he's so small.
I love it.
He's a sophomore.
I love it.
And he looks like a sophomore. He looks like an underclassman, but that man gets everywhere. He did everything tonight. He was scoring from close range. He was all over the field. And you'll see in a couple, seconds once we get a couple plays ahead, but he has patience too. It's something that you don't see very often is a player of his age that has patience while running. That's a great catch right there, but we're going to check out the next play. Our boy Jock, he was incredible. Watch as he gets out into open space. He's got the speed, and then he's going to patient. He's going to turn back. He's going to let his blockers kind of get ahead of him and get a big gain here. But I will say, Cottondale tonight, they looked pretty impressive. North Bay Haven, they let a little bit of big plays happen in the first half, a little too many, had some mistakes hurt them. I will say both these teams had their opportunities. I saw Cottondale get a goal line stand against North Bay Haven. I saw North Bay Haven get a goal line stand against Cottondale. But Cottondale, they jumped out to that lead before the half. They went on to win this one at 36-27. Cottondale, they suffered a tough defeat last week at home to Freeport. This one, they bounced back. This is a quality win in Cottondale's eyes for sure. They get this one 36-27. Cottondale Hornets, what do you kind of think of this matchup?
I think Cottondale looked really good. It was exciting to see them be able to put on a show like that. I talked to them in the beginning of the season, and Jock wasn't someone who I talked to, someone I didn't really hear about. So it's kind of fun seeing this sophomore just come out and be a standout player for them. But I think it was a pretty evenly matched game. Sometimes getting the first score of the game isn't always the best. I think the momentum can get set and then it can just fall pretty easily. But good for Cottondale, big win on the road.
Right, and we had a few games that we did not get the highlights of. We'll get to Chipley in just a second. I do see Go Bluntstown would have win tonight. They got a nice win over Taylor County,
bouncing back
22-18. I did see our boy Amarion Hover had a massive night running, taking care of business. Again, we mentioned Trey Luna doing well for Bozeman. It was Amarion Hover over at Bluntstown tonight. 3 scores, well over 100 yards. He's having himself a year. And not only is he doing it on offense, he's doing it on defense. I noticed just a couple weeks ago, and I'll have to check on those updated stats, he was near the top of the state in rushing, and he was near the top of the state in tackle. So he's doing it on both sides of the ball. Bluntstown getting a big win tonight, 22-18 over Taylor County. They fell to Wacola last week.
Yeah.
I know they probably left a bitter taste in their mouth. But they got the win tonight. Let's talk about those Chipley Tigers, because I know we got a lot of Chipley fans that are hanging around to hear about them. Talk to me a little bit about this Chipley game.
Chipley, once again, remaining undefeated, heading over to Freeport. Freeport kind of got a good start at the beginning of the game, but this Chipley defense, look at that. I mean, that's insane. The Tigers, you can just tell they are hungry and they are ready to make it happen. I feel like some of their games, I was there for 2 weeks earlier in the season, they sometimes have a slow start, but they can really gain that back in the second quarter or the second half. Caden Kennedy is an ideal weapon for them. I mean, he can run that ball for them all day. This plays one of my favorite, though. He just gets lost in the end zone in all of those jerseys. But, I mean, another good play by the defense. I think Chipley's a really well-rounded team on the offense and defense, and I think that helps them a lot, and they really can pick up momentum towards the end of the game.
Now, you mentioned Caden Kennedy doing his thing. We were just talking about Marion Hover at Bluntstown, Trey Luna at Bozeman. Caden Kennedy, he is the man in Chipley this year. They graduated some weapons in the running game from last season, and Caden, he's taken over that position. We know the weapon that's going with the Auburn commit over there, DeQuavia Story. That's going to be a factor. But Caden Kennedy, he has come out and he has really put on a show this year. Neil Adams, again, he was near the top of the state in Class 1A in passing last year. He was that game manager this year. He's kind of like, okay, I'll show you what I can do with my arm. He has really taken over. Kennedy, number 20, he is the man. I see it in the comments. Yes. Those Chipley Tigers, they look good. They are undefeated once again. They improve to 5-0, and I believe they have the week off next week. We'll get to that in just a second, but I think they get a nice week off after this. What are some other scores we haven't talked about? Arnold. We do not have video of Arnold, but they picked up their first win tonight. I know you're a big Arnold fan. Love that crew over there, as do I. But getting their win tonight, Fort Walton Beach. They were looking for their first win. Arnold, they went into the fourth quarter tied at 7, so we know there had to be a game-winning field goal. We'll have to talk to Coach over there and see how that one finished. But talking about those Marlins getting the win.
I think Arnold, they really had the chance and had the opportunity. I think they just had a bunch of tough games early on that really slowed them down. They were able to pick it up over a winless Fort Walton Beach, in that fourth quarter field goal. But, I think if the season started off a little bit differently, they would have more momentum, but I think they've just kind of gotten run down. But I'm excited for them to get their first win, so maybe they'll get some more momentum and kind of help carry it through the end of the season, because I do think they have a lot of potential.
I agree. The Marlins getting the first win, that's a good way to start. Graceville, we talk about them each and every week. They are one of the youngest teams around. I would probably wager, I don't know if there's a certain way to kind of calculate this, I would probably wager that Graceville is the youngest team in the state of Florida. Coming into the fall, they have a single senior on the team. They got a lot of youth, and they're gonna kind of get things rolling hopefully within the next couple of years and kind of building back. But Graceville, really young team, and that is kind of shown in their scores this year. Holmes County 42-23. That one again gonna matter a lot as well come playoff time. Jay is always right there in the pack. Holmes County right there in the pack. I know they had a lot of fun out at Memorial Field. I saw, with some pictures on Twitter tonight, they got their field painted, the Blue Devil logo looking just like the one that you see on the screen there. It was very nice, so hopefully they keep that up.
I think they were happy to be back home. Those 2 tough weeks on the road. I think it was nice for them to get back home and get that home win over Jay.
Right, and Holmes County, once again, they love playing on that Memorial Field. They got a big win tonight. Great job for them. Another one that we were not at tonight, but looks like they had themselves a night. The Sneads Pirates, again, undefeated.
The third undefeated team. I think there's only 3 left.
And 1A, undefeated teams, we got
Chipley,
Sneads. Bluntstown is no longer undefeated.
And Walton.
Walton is not 1A, but yeah, you're right. Are those the only last 3 undefeated teams in our area?
I think so.
You might be right. I'll have to check that. I think you are right. We'll double check that. You can correct us if we're wrong. I see in the comments, Chipley number 2 in the state of Florida. That is, according to Florida high school football, a lot of people do pay attention to them. I pay attention to Florida high school football. It's not the FHSAA rankings. Those should be coming out very soon, the first ones of the season. But according to Florida high school football, Chipley is the number 2 1A team in the state of Florida, and sure looks like it. They've kind of dominated their competition every week. I see a lot of praise for Mosley's quarterback, Sammy Freitas. He's become the man over there in Lynn Haven. The man, he is really doing his thing. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the year, I kind of was watching. It was that battle between Sammy and Trey over there, the senior Trey Coker, and kind of, I was like, all right, Sammy, he's got the thing working with his feet, he can kind of get around, and now he's just really becoming a confident passer. And I see, wonderful to see the team step up, challenge, and dominate. A lot of praise for Sammy Freitas, and I see why they got a winner over there, and they got him for a couple more years as well. What are some games we haven't mentioned? We talked about Blountstown, talked about Port St. Joe, North Bay, Haven, Cottondale, Arnold. We're looking pretty good. Jay, Holmes County, yeah, that's right. Franklin County, we mentioned, also falling to Rocky Bayou. Next week's games. Let's talk about next week's games, because I know there's one in particular I really, really want to talk about. It's on the next page. But South Walton at Rutherford, that will open us. Rutherford. I can't speak. It's getting late. South Walton at Rutherford, Thursday night. That'll be over at Tommy Oliver Stadium. No games at Tommy Oliver Stadium tonight. That was weird driving past Tommy Oliver tonight. No stadium lights on tonight. And then on Friday, we got Mosley at Childs. That will be a district game, and then West Florida at Walton. Talk to us about the next ones, Kaylee.
Got Blountstown at Port St. Joe. That should be a good matchup.
That's the one I was looking for. I'm going to call that early on, probably our game of the week. We'll have to maybe discuss that. No, I would say probably game of the week.
Okay.
The discussion is over. Game of the week, Blountstown at Port St. Joe. What else we got?
Godby at Mariana. Mariana coming off that bye week this week. North Bay Haven at Bay. Freeport at Bozeman. And Weewahitchka at Cottondale.
Then we got the next up, Liberty County coming off the bye. They're going to be at Sneeze. That should be a tough one with, two teams that should really be pushing for the playoffs. Franklin County going to be at Asola Christian. Holmes County at Vernon. And then Graceville going to be over there at Rocky Bayou Christian.
Vernon was the other week off. Or the other team.
Oh, the other team that had the week off. That is right. We were missing that earlier. And then this upcoming week, Arnold coming off a win, going into the bye. Chipley coming off a win, going into the bye. I know they're happy about that. They're going to get some rest. Got a lot of games this upcoming week that are going to be a lot of fun. But I will say, moving into next week, I will say most likely our game of the week. You haven't been over to Port St. Joe just yet to see the action.
But I do love purple and gold, so I'm all about it.
Purple and gold and the red and black. Those are definitely two of the best 1A schools each and every year, to the most storied programs. Before we go, anything else that you think we need to touch on?
No.
Spencer, are we missing out on anything? Obviously, where to find those highlights.
Yes, where do we find those highlights?
Where do we find those highlights? Go over to mypanhandle.com. We will have all of those games that you saw on Fever tonight, all the highlights that you saw here, and then all of the scores will be on mypanhandle.com as well. Click on the sports tab. You can see it all, share it all. Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want to do, get it shared.
And if you don't feel like going to our website, you can download our app. It's called 13 Now. You can find it in the App Store.
If you didn't hear that, you did hear that. 13 Now app. Go ahead and download it. It's a great app. You get to see lots of high school football. But week 5 is in the books. That means that we are at the halfway point.
That makes me sad.
In the season. It's going to start getting cold soon.
Ugh.
Just wait. Wait till you're out doing those live shots and you're bundled up in a full-on coat. Because I remember at Bulls Field last year in Blountstown, it was about 20 degrees in the wind. Oh, that's a little bit of an exaggeration. Probably about 40 degrees in the wind blowing.
Okay.
She's from North Carolina. I'm from Panama City. Whatever. But week 5 is in the books. They're all telling me it's time to go home. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.